Hello there, my name's Annette with Sunbeam Fabric Art. Welcome to my channel. That bin that lives right above my hexies, it's got some loose 10-inch squares and 5-inch squares in it. Now, I didn't get a video clip of the actual sort, but I am going to show you what I picked. What I'm looking for here is 42 10-inch squares, half light, half dark. And you can see these are just a mashup of various layer cakes that I've used parts of, various 10-inch squares that I've cut myself from backing. What I'm going to do now is just go through the stack and pair up a dark and a light so there's some contrast. I'm not too worried about the blacks, the blues, the purples. There is this olive green and that bright red that I'm kind of worried about. I don't know how those are going to look in the overall quilt, but we're just going to go for it and see what happens. I tried not to make any pairs the exact same, but on those olive green, I felt like that black and white bird print was really the only one that would look good with that olive green. And since I'm using a lot of that blue pattern that you see there, that was backing fabric that I cut up into 10-inch squares, there are going to be some repeats there. And my bin is lighter than it was. It's got 42 less 10-inch squares in it. Deciding what fabric to use can sometimes be the hardest part. For now, I'm going to stack these up out of the way so we can get ready to make our cuts. I'm going to be stacking my 10-inch squares on top of each other. I'm going to be using lines on my cutting mat to place my cuts. I have 10-inch squares here that I cut myself, and I have other 10-inch squares that are probably from a minimum of 3 or 4 different layer cakes, just leftovers from the pack. I'm doing my best to line these up together. If there is just a tiny bit of overlap, I'm okay with that. We're still going to make these same cuts. I've got the right side of this stack lined up with the far right line on my cutting mat. Then I'm counting over 4 inches from the left, making a cut there. Then I'm moving my ruler 2 inches from the cut I just made and making a second cut. Since all my pairs were put together differently, I am going to switch 2 at a time, putting the light in the place of the dark. Then I'll go down to the next 2 and switch the dark and the light, and then the last 2 and switch the dark and the light, keeping them together with their original pair. It really would not matter that much in the grand scheme of things, but I thought since I went to all the trouble to pair them up individually, I would keep those pairs together. I could cut out some of this footage of me cutting the fabric. I mean, it's so easy to do, but honestly, I just really like looking at all these fabrics, and I hope you do too. This next stack, that little blue fabric that's on top, is quite a bit smaller than the other 10-inch squares. Now it's time for my favorite thing, which is chain piecing. I'm going to stitch two pieces together. First, the left piece and the middle piece. After I get through that stack, I'll break the chain, go back through, and add that third piece. After I broke the chain, I did want to go through and press these seams open before I added the third piece. I just thought that would make it easier to line up the pieces. And I'm pressing assembly line style, where I put the iron on a seam, then I open up the next seam while the iron is just sitting there. This is one of my favorite shortcuts. Since I pressed that stack, they're in the opposite order now, so what I'm going to do is flip that right-hand stack upside down, so now everything will match up just fine. I'm going to be putting the first two pieces together with that third piece, lining them up at that top edge. Once I got through the entire stack, I broke my chain again, and I went through and pressed these all open again using my assembly line pressing technique. Next, I took a look at several of these to determine how I was going to trim these blocks. Some of the blocks were a little bit wonky. This one was one I cut myself from backing fabric, that light green color. It looks like my blade slipped a little bit. With all of that checking done, I went ahead and trimmed my blocks to 8.5 inches by 9.5 inches. That took into account the few layer cakes that weren't correct, and the 8.5 is smaller because we lose an inch with 2 seam allowances. One thing I want you to be aware of, if you want to be able to turn your blocks different ways, you would need to trim them to a square block. My 8.5 by 9.5 is a rectangle, so they're only going to fit together one way, unless I were to add in an extra inch on that short side. With all the blocks trimmed up, I did want to mix them up. I didn't want to have a bunch of the same color right next to each other. So I am swapping out the darks and the lights and mixing them up a bit, which you will see as I continue to do this. Once I got the darks and lights sorted out from each other, I took those darks and lights and shuffled them another time to really get them mixed up well. I did want to give you a look at what I was talking about, rectangle blocks versus square blocks. If these were square blocks, I could turn my blocks so that that line in the middle is going a different way. And I've made that quilt before. It's a lot of fun. In this case, I'm going to be joining my blocks on that longer side, the 9.5-inch side. My quilt layout is 6 blocks across, so I'm going to be stitching rows of 6 blocks, and I'm going dark, light, dark, light, dark, light. Next, I'm going to put 2 pairs together, making sure it's dark, light, dark, light. When I'm making a row like this, sometimes I'll flip around the tail end of the first 2 pairs to attach that 3rd pair. I did that for the first couple of rows, but I stopped doing that. I started breaking the thread and attaching that last pair to the row because this 9.5-inch length and 8.5-inch width, it just did not want to bend around well enough to get a good joining there. Once all 7 of my rows are put together, I'm going to be joining 2 rows together. What I'm going to do is flip the 2nd row around the opposite way so that my quilt top has alternate blocks. So instead of the dark block on the left of the row, for row 2, it's going to be on the right side of the row. If you're a newer quilter, I recommend putting some clips or pins in this to hold these blocks together till you get to the sewing machine. The only seam I'm worried about nesting is the one between the blocks. I'm not too worried about those skinny strips exactly lining up. If you wanted to make sure those lined up perfectly, you'd have to do a little bit more work when you construct the block to make sure and measure after each addition. That's another reason why I like to have a square block when I do this method, because that way you can turn every other block the opposite way, then you don't have any matching at all. I'm going to speed up here while we put the rest of these rows together to complete the quilt. I did press this quilt top thoroughly before measuring and before taking pictures of it. Here is our final look at this quilt. Since I chose lights and darks, I did want to give you a look in black and white as well as color. I hope you'll leave me a comment and let me know what you think about this quilt. Is this something you would do? It would also make a great fat quarter quilt. In fact, I might just try that for my next fat quarter project. If you've seen my channel lately, you know I am overwhelmed with fat quarters. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I hope to see you back again real soon.